Australia in the 1930s, not exactly a party. World War I hangover, check. Global depression, check. Farmers struggling, big check. Just when Aussie farmers thought things couldn't get worse, along came the emus. What did you learn about this challenging period? Let us know in the comments. Picture this, you're an Aussie farmer, sunburnt and weary. The relentless sun beats down on you as you toil day in and day out. You've poured your heart and soul into your crops. Every seed planted is a promise of a better future, a hope for a bountiful harvest. Suddenly a feathered tidal wave of emus descends upon your fields, gobbling up your hard work. These birds are relentless and they come in droves. The emus weren't picky eaters, they devoured everything, leaving behind a trail of destruction and, let's be honest, a lot of poop. Your once lush fields are now a wasteland. Farmers tried everything to stop them. They built fences, stronger fences, hoping to create a barrier against the onslaught. They even resorted to electrifying the fences with car batteries, a desperate attempt to keep the emus at bay. The emus just laughed. Okay, maybe not literally, but their persistence was almost mocking. They were too numerous, too fast, and way too stubborn. No matter what the farmers did, the emus always found a way through. The farmers were desperate. This wasn't just an inconvenience, it was an avian invasion. Their livelihoods were at stake, and the emus showed no signs of stopping. The battle between man and bird had begun, and it was clear the emus had the upper hand. Desperate times call for desperate measures, or in this case, desperate and slightly ridiculous measures. The farmers appealed to the government. The solution? Send in the army. Yes, the Australian Army, veterans of the Great War, were now tasked with fighting birds. The year was 1932, the enemy flightless, the weapon of choice. Lewis machine guns, you really can't make this stuff up. 2 soldiers, armed to the teeth, were dispatched to the emu front lines. Their mission, save the wheat, defeat the feathered menace. Section 4, the Great Emu War, begins and doesn't go well. The emus, it turned out, weren't impressed by military might. They were not just any birds. They were resilient, fast, and had a knack for evading capture. Those Lewis guns, overkill much? The soldiers thought they had the upper hand with their advanced weaponry. The emus were fast, scattered, and surprisingly hard to hit. They moved unpredictably, making it nearly impossible for the soldiers to aim accurately. Plus, they had this annoying habit of not attacking in formation. Unlike human soldiers, the emus didn't follow any predictable patterns. The first volley of gunfire sent the emus scattering. Instead of standing their ground, they dispersed in all directions, making it even harder to target them. The soldiers, perhaps wondering how they'd ended up in this situation, pursued the feathered enemy. It was chaos. The battlefield was a mess of soldiers running after emus, who seemed to be mocking them with their speed and agility. The newspapers had a field day. Reporters couldn't get enough of the bizarre spectacle unfolding in the Australian outback. Headlines screamed about emu brigades outmaneuvering soldiers, and feathered fiends hold their ground. The public was both amused and bewildered by the reports. The Great Emu War, as it became known, was off to a, shall we say, less than stellar start. The soldiers were frustrated, the emus were winning, and the whole affair was turning into a national joke. Section 5. Ceasefire. The emus win. The soldiers tried everything. Ambushes, strategic retreats, even chasing emus in trucks. The emus were unimpressed. They just kept eating, running, and generally being a nuisance. The government, realizing this wasn't exactly a shining moment for Australian military history, quietly withdrew the troops. The emus had won. The Great Emu War was a PR disaster. Politicians debated, farmers despaired. The emus, they went right on eating. Section 6. Lessons learned or not. So what did we learn from the Great Emu War? This bizarre conflict between humans and birds in the Australian outback has left us with some unforgettable lessons. For starters, don't underestimate the enemy, even if that enemy is a flightless bird. The emus proved to be surprisingly resilient and resourceful. Secondly, maybe don't declare war on animals. It's a battle you might not win, and it could end up being more embarrassing than you ever imagined. The Great Emu War remains a hilarious footnote in Australian history, a reminder that sometimes nature just wins. It's a story that has been passed down through generations, often with a chuckle, and that maybe, just maybe, we should leave those big birds alone. They seem to be doing just fine without our interference. The emus, meanwhile, are probably still out there, roaming the outback, snacking on wheat and laughing at the memory of the time they defeated the Australian army. Their victory is a testament to the unpredictability of nature and the resilience of wildlife.